Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of the Ielts Clinic. It's me, your girl, Intentional Favour. So guys, in today's video, we'll be looking at a question type, which is the matching information to paragraph, if that makes sense to you. So we're just going to be looking at a type of question that is quite common, in the IELTS reading test, and that is where you are required to match information to paragraphs. So in this particular question type, you are asked to match information to various paragraphs in the reading text that you are given. The information you are given could be something like summaries, explanations, definitions, reason, and so on. It can be anything. So you're only required to find specific information in the paragraph and match it to the statement you are provided with in your question. So that's what we'll be looking at. And one way to identify this type of question is, if you've been practicing IELTS before now, you would have come across questions or reading text from passages like this, whereby paragraphs are labeled A, B, C. So the paragraphs are usually labeled A, B, C, D, E, and so on. As you can see on the screen, this is a type. So every paragraph is labeled an alphabet, and that is one thing that will help you, because your answer will usually be the letter of the paragraph and not a word, not words, and not phrases or sentences from the reading text. So I'm going to be saying some things now that will help you with this, because there are some things that you really need to know about this question type, because one thing that you need to know actually is that there are usually more paragraphs than questions. So you have more paragraphs than questions. You can see here we have A to H paragraphs, that is A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, 8 paragraphs in all in this particular reading text. And sometimes you can find out that there might be more paragraphs than the question. So when you are answering your questions, don't worry yourself if you find out that a paragraph does not feature in your answer. So maybe in your answer you found A, you found C, F, and all, and you didn't find B as an answer. Let that not discourage you. And at the same time, you can also find out that maybe your answer, a paragraph, appears in 2 answers. So maybe you can see C twice, whereas you cannot find H. So don't worry about that. It's normal. So one important thing you need to know about this question type, because I've always said it for other question type, that's why you need to understand each question type of the IELTS, and that's why I'm taking my time in separate videos to address this question type. For this particular question type in the reading test, one thing you need to know is that the answers do not appear in the same order as the questions. I said in the multiple choice and sentence completion, you find out that yes, the answers, they come in order. But for this particular one, right, please take note of that. Your answers, they do not come in the same order as the question. And this is one question type that we actually test your ability to skim and scan through the reading text. Is actually the question type that will also make you look through the whole passage, because the answer you are looking for can be anywhere in the text, it can be anywhere in the passage, and they do not come in order. So this one actually takes a lot of time. Just know that this question type, it takes a lot of time, and you need to develop your ability to skim and scan through passages accurately and quickly. You just need to do that. But don't worry, in this clinic, I'll be sharing with you the tips, the strategies that will help you beat this particular question type and avoid you wasting your time, because time is very, very essential in the IELTS test. Moving on now, guys, I'm going to be just going through some tips, some strategies. Some of them are things I've said, because to be honest with you, there are general tips when it comes to the IELTS reading test, and I've said that. So I won't be going into details, just like a refresher, and to remind you that some of those tips, they still apply to this question type. In case you are new, you are just seeing my video for the first time, I have a playlist on my channel titled IELTS Clinic. When you go there, you will see several videos that I've done when it comes to IELTS preparation, and you can rest assured that all you need to prepare for your IELTS test and to excel in it, you can find them in IELTS Clinic. Here you are guaranteed of success once you follow IELTS Clinic and all the tips that I share on this channel. So going on quickly, guys, I'm going to be sharing some tips. As you know, I've been devising a strategy of sharing the tips. Then we look at a question and we answer it together, more like practicing with you in case it's strange to you, so that you know what it's like and what it feels like to practice for the IELTS test. So like always, make sure that you read your instructions. Very, very important. Read your instructions carefully. For this type of question, one important instruction that you should watch out for is the fact that your answers will usually be letters. Yeah, so your answer might be the paragraph. We are still going to look at an example so that you understand that. So read your instructions very well and note order. Most times for this particular question type, you might not really see, you will never see an instruction about one word or one word and or a number or stuff like that, because most times what they require you to answer is alphabet. Also note that you should read your questions first. That's one important strategy I have shared on this channel. Don't waste your time reading the whole text first, then read the question and go back again to read and identify. No, read your questions first. It is very, very important. And also you should be aware of synonyms and try to paraphrase or rephrase your question for better understanding. So if they ask you a question or they ask for something and information, make sure that you understand the question. And if you try not to understand it, one easy way out of it is to try and put it in your own words. Then it will help you to understand it. That is, put the question in your own words, you understand it better. Also know that if there are other question types, this is very, very important, guys. Pay attention. I think this one is now peculiar to this question type. So if there are other question type, let's say like this passage that we have on the screen now, it might be that in the questions, because this particular paper, the answer, it addresses question 1 to 13, as you can see. So in some cases, you may find out that maybe question 1 to 5 is this particular question type, and then maybe question 6 to 13 will be maybe multiple choice, sentence completion, summary completion, and all that. That might be what question 6 to 13 will address. Okay, if that is the case, I'll advise do the other question type first. So try and answer the multiple choice question first, or the sentence completion, or whichever. Try and answer those ones first, because when you do that, you find out that you will actually identify some various information that will help you to address this one. Because to be honest, like I said, this particular question type is time consuming. So do the other question type first, and then this particular question type, answer it last. That's an important tip, because when you're answering others, it will give you a general understanding of what the passage is all about. So when you now want to match your question to the answer or information in the text, it will be very easy for you to do that. Also, when you are reading or going through the text, I will suggest that you identify and note various information like dates. It could be century or whatever. Just note information like dates, name of people, name of places or events. Also identify numbers. That is when you are answering other question type. Try and note all those stuff. You can highlight them, you can mark them and note them, because they will signpost you when you are answering your questions. Also, take note of synonyms. Of course, I've always said that synonyms, they are very, very important. Take note of them. For instance, you might see 25% in the question, and when it comes to the text, you will not see 25%. You might see 1/4 or 1/4. They all mean the same thing. So, like I said, don't always look for exact words from the question and look for it in the answer. You will not see them most of the times in IELTS. Another thing that you need to do is to make sure that you read the whole question and try and understand what information you are looking for, and note keywords too. So please read the whole question. For instance, the question we'll be looking at today, you can see that we have 4 questions here, all right? We have 4 questions, and, they are different things, right? So I will advise, make sure that you read these 4 questions. When you read, try and understand the information you are looking from the 4 of them before going to the text. That way, if you see maybe something that relates to question 2 first, because remember, the answers, they don't come in order. So when you see a question that addresses, a section that addresses question 2, you will easily know that, oh, this is what question 2 was asking about. So don't just skim in absence or without knowledge or understanding of what you are looking for. So don't just look for question 1, a description of an early timekeeping invention affected by cold temperatures. Then you go and look for this. It will take you a lot of time because they don't come in order. So it's possible that the answer to question 4 will come first. Maybe the first paragraph or the second paragraph will be the answer to question 4. So because you already know what you are looking for in the whole passage, when you identify where an answer is located, you can easily go back. Oh, question 4, description of this, then you go and answer it. I hope that makes sense. I hope you understand it. Is it clear enough? So make sure that you read the whole questions that you are given, then try and understand the information you are looking for before going into the text proper. So when you do that, you now go back and skim the passage and try to understand its general meaning, identify your answers, go back, read it again. Oh, does it make sense? Then you can also answer your question. So these are more like the basic tips and strategies that you need for you to tackle this particular question type, and I hope you find it very useful. So moving on, guys, we're just going to be addressing this now. I chose this particular passage and this particular question because it addresses like two types of information matching question type. Now you can see this one is matching paragraphs. So which paragraphs contains the following information? Which paragraph? Now there is also another question, the same. So question 1 to 4 talked about matching information to paragraphs. Now look at question 5 to 8. Question 5 to 8 is now about matching events with nationality, and the nationalities, we are given the list of the nationalities, and these nationalities are picked from the passage, so you have to match the information in question 5, 6, 7, and 8, match them with the correct nationality. So this is like a question type. All right, so if you go on this same text, it has another question, which is something that we'll look at later on in this clinic, and that is diagram labeling. Okay, that is diagram labeling. So it's possible that probably for you to answer this, you might come and answer diagram labeling first, because when you are doing that, it will give you an idea. You'll be able to have skimmed and understand the context of the passage, so that when you now want to match the information, it will be easier. We're going to be looking at diagram labeling in a separate video. Now, like I said, this particular question type is time consuming. I'm not sure if in this particular video I'll be able to read the whole text or show you how I skim, but to be honest with you, of course, you can well tell that before filming this video, I've already gone through the passage and answered it, not because I was looking for the answer. I just did it under examination condition, and these skills and these tips and these strategies I've just shared with you, they were the things I used, and more like in few minutes I was able to identify my answers to question 1 to 8 here. The first few questions, question 1 to 8, I found my answers immediately. So it's something I have practiced. Okay, so one thing that you need is to learn how to skim through passages as fast as possible and as accurate as possible to find your answer. That's one thing that will help you when it comes to the IELTS reading test and when it comes to this particular question type. So of course, what I'll be doing here is to skim. I'll just skim through and give you some of the strategies I used to that help me to know that this is my answer. This is the answer I'm looking for. Okay. So like I said, guys, when you want to answer your question, make sure that you read the questions first before going into the passages. All right, and also remember to read your instructions. Very, very important. So the instruction here is that we should write the correct letter A to H in boxes 1 to 4 on your answer sheet. So what our answers will be alphabets and not words, not phrases, not sentences. It will just be what? It will be alphabets A to H. So they ask us which paragraph contains the following information. So the first is a description of an early timekeeping invention affected by cold temperatures. An explanation. Okay, now when you are reading this, try and understand this. So there is something about a timekeeping invention that is affected by cold temperature. Okay, you note that. An explanation of the importance of geography in the development of the calendar in farming communities. Now, when you are reading this in your paper, make sure that you note all these cold temperatures. The keywords here is about early timekeeping invention that is affected by cold temperatures. Okay, then this one is explanation of importance of geography. Geography, development of calendar in farming communities. So this is talking about farming communities. These are keywords. You note them, you can circle them or underline them. The third question, a description of the origins of the pendulum clock. Pendulum, you circle that. Origin is another keyword. The origin of the pendulum clock, you circle that. Then details of the simultaneous efforts of different societies to calculate time using uniform hours. Calculating time using what? Uniform hours. Then simultaneous efforts of different societies. So this gives me, so even by reading this alone, when I'm not reading, I know that there are some keywords I'm looking for. Cold temperature, farming communities, geography, pendulum clock, and all that. These are the keywords that you should watch out for. So having known this, then I'll go to the passage. I hope that makes sense, guys. So we are looking for instance, this. I already know what I'm looking for at the back of my mind. Okay, so I now start reading. According to the archaeological evidence, I will just skim through, to be honest. Of course, I can't be reading all this, but you just came through, guys, because I don't want this video to be long, as you may know. So you just came through and you now see that actually for this particular question, the answer is in paragraph. Like you can see some paragraphs here that can tell you something. Look at paragraph B. It talked about something, you read it through. Now, can you see this, guys? Where seasonal agriculture, when I was doing this earlier, of course, this was a signpost, where seasonal agriculture was practiced. Do you remember we asked, there is a question that addresses farming? Do you remember that, guys? Yeah, there is a question that addresses farming. So you see why you need to read your questions and understand what you are looking for. Now you have looked at that and you can see farming, and there is this question, what? Question 2 talked about farming communities, geography, all right? So you go back to the text. It already tells you that, the answer to that question 2 is what? Is paragraph B. Hence the calendars that were developed and done. So you can see that the answer to question 2 comes before, like you can see the answer first before question 1. That's to tell you that the answers, they don't come in order as the questions do. All right. So that tells us that the answer is what? B. So because they asked us, the question is, which paragraph contains information? What information? An explanation of the importance of geography in the development of the calendar in farming communities. So our answer is what? B. Yeah, because it talks about where seasonal agriculture was practiced, the solar year became more crucial. All right. So that's our answer. Now you read on again, you find out that another place where you can identify an answer, just trying to be fast, is D, paragraph D. So it says that in order to track this and all that, and paragraph D actually addresses question 1. Yeah, hope I'm correct. Yeah, a description of an early timekeeping invention affected by cold temperatures. So if you keep reading that, you now find out about cold temperature. Look at here, guys. Can you see? And often freezing weather. Often freezing weather. That's telling you synonyms now, or paraphrasing. It didn't talk about cold temperature. Another thing you can look at cold temperature to be is that it is what? It is freezing, a freezing weather. So you find out that here you did not see cold temperature. You will never see cold temperature here, but we know that that freezing weather talks about cold temperature. That gives us the answer to option 1 to be what? To be D. Just trying to make this video as short as I can. The next answer that we'll find is paragraph E, that gives us answer to question 4. So paragraph E gives us answer to question 4. And what does question 4 say? Question 4 talks about details of the simultaneous efforts of different societies, to calculate time using uniform hours. So you can look for where they talked about different societies. So if you look at paragraph 4, it talks about so many societies there. The schemes that divided, can you see, that divided the day into 12 equal parts. Can you see? 12 equal parts. And we're looking at where this information about using uniform hours. Uniform. When something is uniform, it talks about equality, right? 12 equal parts. And not just that, to start to the count. Now, they mentioned Italian hours began at sunset, Babylonian hours at sunrise, astronomical hours at midday, and all that. Germany, you see, French, they talked about different societies. And that is what it is. The details of the simultaneous efforts of different societies. And that answers question 4. So our answer to question 4 is E. Then when it comes to question 3, a description of the origins of pendulum clock. We can see that in paragraph F, where we talked about by the 16th century, a pendulum clock had been devised, but the pendulum swung in it. So this is telling us the invention, the history, or the origin of the pendulum clock. So that gives us the answer. I don't know if that makes sense, guys, but basically what I'm trying to do in this video is to tell us some things that you need as far as the matching information question type is concerned. So note that this type of question will really take your time. So you need to know how to skim through, because you don't necessarily, if you are to read, just look at how long the passage is. It's very long. If you are to read this whole passage and you know you have just 60 minutes, 1 hour to answer 40 questions, it takes a lot of time. So you can see it will take your time. So when you are reading it, when you're answering maybe the first question type, don't forget, note some keywords, dates, events, names of people, names of places. If you note it down, by the time you now come back to this type of question, you find out that it is easy for you to do. Now there's another question 5 to 8 now talks about matching the information to nationalities. Now one mistake that people might make in this particular type of question is to make mistake of writing the nationality. Now the question said that you should write the correct letter A to F in boxes 5 to 8 of your answer sheet. Now somebody might now read question 5 and eventually find out that the answer to question 5, for instance, is B. B is actually the answer, Egyptians. So when you read it in the text, you now find out that, oh, Egyptians are the correct. You might be tempted to go and write Egyptians. Many people do. Don't think like it's not possible. It happens. It happens. Even personally, when I was preparing for my Ielts, I used to make that mistake because I just saw the answer. Oh, it's Egyptians, and you just write Egyptians. You find a number 6. Oh, number 6. The answer is Germans. Oh, you write Germans, and you forget to come and look at Germans and see that it is option E and write E. So don't make that mistake. Make sure that you follow your instruction. Most times they will require you to write the alphabets. All right. So when you are reading that, make sure that you follow the instruction very well, and it will help you. And just take note of all these tips I've shared in your practice. I'm sure they will really help, okay? And I want to know your opinion, really, guys. Do you think that this is being helpful, or should I just give the tips? Because to be honest, I think in a video I can just give the tips to the different types of question, and that is it. Or do you think the fact that I still make it visible, I know some people, they are visual people, they can actually understand better when they see what you are talking about. Do you think this method is okay and is good, and you like it that way? Let me know in the comment section. And maybe if you have suggestions of how you think we can make this clinic much better, if there are any suggestions or opinions you have, let me know in the comment section, and I'll be looking at that. Next week or subsequent week, definitely I'll be answering some, maybe I'll just be looking at passages from the GT test. Yes, I'm going to do that because some people might think that it's different. You are still going to see, maybe when I look at a question type, I'm going to look at a general training test that address that type of question, and that way you see that there is really no much difference. It's just that the reading text, the passage you are given, the passages you are given will be different, but you still have the same question type. So all these tips, you can always apply it whether you are preparing for the academic test or the GT test. All right, guys, so I think with that we've come to the end of this video. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you have not. Also give this video a thumbs up. Okay, so I will see you guys in my next video. Until then, stay blessed, remain intentional, and take care of yourself. Bye.